Yo, liquid staking is one of the hottest topics in Cosmos right now. There's currently 3 main contenders to launch their liquid staking protocols, which are Lido, QuickSilver, and pStake. And if you want to know how these 3 protocols differentiate, what they have in common, what's their timeline for launch, then make sure that you watch this entire thing. First of all, I really appreciate everybody for getting me to 1 million views. We finally made it, guys. Really appreciate that. Also, we just crossed 26,000 subscribers here on YouTube and 55,000 on Twitter. I really appreciate that. And if you haven't done yet, also please subscribe to this YouTube channel right now and also activate the bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming interviews. For example, tomorrow I have a big interview with Thorchain, and this is time-sensitive stuff. So subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and now let's get into liquid staking on Cosmos. So the big thing about proof-of-stake chains, which Cosmos, by the way, pioneered since 2014, which is 8 years ago, is that you're replacing physical mining hardware through validators, right? Through network validators. And everybody can open up to become a validator, right? I just did it roughly 1.5 years ago with Stakecito, and we're running on 20+ chains. And why does it matter for you as a token holder to delegate your coins in any proof of stake network out there? It matters because staked value or bonded value equals network security, right? If you look, for example, at the Cosmos Hub right now, which is the chain on which ATOM is residing, you can see that the market value, the market cap, is around $2.6 billion, right? However, the staked value is only $1.6 billion. And that is also the network security. That's the monetary value of the network security is $1.6 billion. Now, there are financial incentives and there are economic models to increase that bonded ratio, right? That's where inflation comes in. That's where staking rewards come in. And ideally, you also want to implement features that keep this value staked, right? So you want to implement features that disincentivize you to unstake whenever the price just pumps, right? Or whenever you just feel like, oh, I gotta sell everything, right? You want to kind of like decrease the velocity of money for staked assets, right? And in Atom's case, for example, the delay to unbond your coins is 21 days, right? On OSMO, it's 14 days. On JUNO, it's even 28 days. Same as for DOT on Polkadot, it's also 28 days. But let's stick to Atom. In this case, we have a bonded ratio of like 63% or 62%, which means 38% of all Atom in circulation are not bonded, that are not actively contributing to securing the chain. And the 63% that are bonded, they would have to undergo a 3-week delay if they were to get unstaked. And that's exactly where liquid staking comes in. Because liquid staking, what it does, what it promises, is that you can liquefy your staked asset. Because that staked asset, if it's just there, it's basically dead capital, right? You can't use it in DeFi, you can't trade it, you can't earn additional yield with it, you can't do anything, right? And you can't even exit that position really fast. It's very static. So liquid staking promises that you can liquefy your staked asset that is natively staked on chain, which means you're securing the chain and decentralizing the chain. But at the same time, you get a representation of that staked asset that has liquidity, ideally, on decentralized exchanges where you can provide liquidity with, where you can trade it, where you can also exit that position instantly. So you're basically bypassing the unbonding period, and you also now can earn additional yield. You can put that, for example, into a lending protocol. And I actually made an entire thread about this just recently that got a lot of engagement, almost 70,000 impressions from you guys. The current stage of liquid staking with these 3 examples that I'm going to do now also here in video form, right? To liquefy staked assets, there are a couple of approaches to it, right? Different approaches how you do that. Some of them require you to unstake your staked position. So you basically have to swallow that one pill and you have to unstake it and then go to another platform and stake it there. And some platforms or some protocols will allow you to liquefy your staked asset with one click, right? And we are the luckiest ecosystem out there because we have Zaki Mainin, who is a core Cosmos contributor for many years now. And he developed a liquid staking module for Cosmos SDK chains that is not tied to just one solution, but it can be implemented by basically every Cosmos SDK chain. So this liquid staking module allows you that you can convert your already staked asset into a liquid staked asset with basically one click from an end user perspective. We haven't seen this tool in action yet, but I think it's going to be really interesting to see once the first platforms go live that implement that. And also, if you want to follow him at ZManian on Twitter, he's an absolute legend in the space. By the way, he's also a frequent guest here on this YouTube channel. So if you want to hear him talk about Cosmos, core developments, updates, all these kind of things, subscribe to this YouTube channel, activate the bell to not miss out on any episode with Zaki in the future. Now, let's start with pstake at pstakefinance on Twitter, which is developed by the PersistenceOne team that is operating out of India. And these guys have also been very, very early advocates, proponents, and supporters of Cosmos technology in general. Since 2019, actually, I think they also created Cosmos India. So a lot of cool stuff coming from Persistence. They also pioneered a stake drop with XPRT in the early days. Now, the product itself, pstake, is currently undergoing a major revolution, right? Initially, over a year ago, they actually started with the idea to say, hey, we want to target Ethereum users, right? We want to get Ethereum users into Cosmos with SDK Atom on Ethereum. And that was the original idea, which is also why the current version of pstake that you can use right now implements also an Ethereum bridge natively, right? So what you're basically doing, you have to unstake your Atom, or you have to just come with fresh Atoms. You stake them through the pstake platform, bridge it at the same time. You get a SDK Atom representation on the Ethereum chain as an ERC20 token, which you can then use on decentralized exchanges such as SushiSwap, for example, or Uniswap, right? Now, the cool thing about it is, yes, you have a yield-bearing SDK Atom token, plus that coin is also staked natively on chain, so you're providing network security, but you have a lot of friction, which is, number one, the bridge that they're using has multisigs, which is really not good. That's a big, big, big downside, because we all know how that usually ends historically. And secondly, nobody really wants to use Ethereum, right? We want to use IBC, we want to use Tendermint, we want to have fast settlement of transactions, cheap gas fees, right? The next step for them was to say, hey, we're pivoting away from Ethereum because there's just no product market fit there. We're actually going to do it on Terra, right? And that was when Terra was, really, really hyped. Long story short, Terra doesn't exist anymore. So that also fell off. Now, and this is actually what I believe they should have done many months ago. They are going to issue native SDK Atom on the PersistenceOne chain, right? Because PersistenceOne has its own network, its own sovereign Cosmos chain. One of the earliest IBC-enabled chains, one of the earliest Cosmos SDK chains. So they're going to allow native issuance of SDK assets on the PersistenceOne chain. And they are going to use, initially at least, what's called validator whitelisting, which means that only a specified set of validators measured by certain criteria, like uptime, for example, or governance participation or whatever, will receive those delegations through their liquid staking protocol, right? So there will be plans to fully decentralize this over time to get rid of the validator whitelisting, but this is how it will be in the beginning. And also what they will implement is interchain accounts and also IBC queries, but I'll talk about this in a second. But the goal is not to just liquefy staked IBC coins, such as Atom, OSMO, JUNO, XPRT, and all these kind of coins, but also from other ecosystems, such as BNB, Solana, and Ethereum, right? And ETH apparently is already live right now. However, this is still the old version, right? So wait, I would personally wait for the new version to get live. And the pstake token will then also be used to incentivize liquidity bootstrapping, which is super, super important, right? So this is really cool because there needs to also be some economic incentive model, like I explained at the very beginning. How do you get liquidity for that staked asset on the secondary market where you could actually earn additional yield with, right? So pstake comes in there. Now let's talk about QuickSilver. QuickSilver is also going to implement Saki's liquid staking module, and they do not use validator listing from the beginning, right? Which is a core value proposition compared to Lido and pStake, which are using validator whitelisting. But I personally don't know in detail what the trade-offs are, right? I mean, if it would be super easy to just implement, to just not implement validator whitelisting, I'm sure pStake and Lido would use it right away as well. But there must be some detailed trade-off to make that decision slightly harder than other decisions to be taken. QuickSilver is also developed by the Chorus1 team, like by previous Chorus1 team members, and similar to pStake, they are funded through angel investors and also VCs, right? Which is also a very important point, because that's vastly differentiates to what Lido is, for example, doing, right? So keep that in mind. Both QuickSilver and pStake have angel investors and VC backers. Now, also from an architectural standpoint, QuickSilver massively differentiates to Persistence or to pStake, right? Like I said earlier, pStake is going to be on the PersistenceOne chain, which is its sovereign Cosmos chain. QuickSilver eventually aims to become a custom consumer chain. Now, what does that mean? This is exactly where interchain security comes in on the Cosmos Hub, because the Cosmos Hub will leverage its security, which we talked in the very beginning is currently $1.6 billion of staked assets. It will leverage that value so that other chains can run with the same validator set of the Cosmos Hub and have the same level of security that the Cosmos Hub has, right? Because it's extremely hard to build up a decentralized validator network that reaches $1.6 billion of staked value in a bear market, especially, right? So that's why QuickSilver eventually wants to use interchain security. They're one of the launch partners. And however, to bring out their product fast and quick in the beginning, they will use their own validator, validator set. So they will launch as a sovereign chain, but then they will migrate later to become a custom consumer chain to the Cosmos Hub. This has to also undergo several governance processes. So I'm personally very interested to see how that will play out in the real world. But yeah, QuickSilver aims to do exactly that. They're also implementing interchain queries, which means that Q asset holders, let's say Q Atom holders, for example, can still participate in governance on a native chain. Let's say, for example, that's at least how I understand it. You hold Q Atom on Osmosis, for example, or any other DEX, but you still want to use that to vote on the Cosmos Hub, on the Atom chain, right? You could do that through interchain queries, which is really, really cool and a very cool feature that does not compromise any voting rights in the native network, right, in the home network. I talked to both pStake and Lido, and they also implement that feature. As of my knowledge, there are no concrete plans yet, like how that's going to look like, but they both confirmed to me that, yes, this is one of the features that we can use interchain queries for, and we are looking into that stuff, right? The team, like I said, consists of previous Chorus1 members, currently finalizing their fundraiser, aims to launch in Q3, and a QCK airdrop is already confirmed, right, predominantly for Atom people. Now, finally, let's talk about Lido. Lido is obviously the most prominent, famous, most successful liquid staking player in the crypto world. I think they're dominating the market with 85-90% market shares, and their SETH solution or SETH solution is in the top 20 of all cryptocurrencies, right? So yeah, Lido is absolutely killing it. They have been killing it, and they now want to come to Cosmos. They have more than 133,000 stakers across various ecosystems such as Ethereum, Solana, Polkadot, Polygon, and so on. Ethereum obviously is their most successful network, and they are just, yeah, the biggest player out there. They're also going to implement Saki's liquid staking module. And their Atom solution will implement two parts to the set. One of them is validator whitelisting, which we talked about earlier with pStake. And the other one, which is, as I understand it, a hybrid of whitelisting validator set and also a permissionless set, which everybody can join. According to them, which they told me, is that this is completely different to anything that they do as of today, right, on any other network that Lido is currently operating on. If ATOM proposal 72 passes, Lido could launch on top of Neutron, which is a CosmWasm-enabled contract consumer chain, where Lido could be building that liquid staking solution as one of the first killer applications for Neutron, which also means they could onboard a bunch of new users, right? If we scroll up again, I said here 133K users. So that's a lot of users. So they could onboard that to Cosmos, right? And further help secure the Cosmos Hub chain, given their success on other networks. And this is also super important in general, right? Counts for all three solutions or liquid staking in general. If you have clear benefits to liquefy your staked asset, it is also more probable and more likely that users will stake their assets, right? Because they can now use that to generate more yield and still have a liquid position, but the underlying asset is still securing the chain, right? Plus, you can still participate in governance. So it's a win-win-win situation. And yeah, this is why it's so exciting and so important for liquid staking to come to Cosmos and to gain real traction. Now, conclusion, P-Stake is the only liquid solution that is currently live. However, this is still the old Ethereum version with the bridge, with validator whitelisting. I think there's only 5 validators right now on the current P-Stake solution. It had its issues in the beginning, but is now pivoting away from Ethereum to native issuance of SDK assets on the PersistenceOne chain. And I personally can't wait for Atom SDK Atom pools on Cosmos dexes such as Osmosis, right? Which mitigates the impermanent loss risk, but also you have 2 ways to earn yield, basically 3 ways to earn yield. One, through the already yield-bearing nature of SDK Atom. 2, through external incentives like OSMO incentives, P-Stake incentives, maybe even XPRT incentives. And 3, through protocol revenue, right? You still earn the swap fee if you provide liquidity. So that's really cool. QuickSilver and Lido are set to launch in Q3, Q4, and both aim to make use of the Cosmos Hub's interchain security feature, which is what I'm really excited for. And that's massively differentiates to what Persistence is doing, because eventually every fee, every transaction, everything that's happening as a consumer chain is going to be paid in Atom. At least that's the case for any contract consumer chain. For a custom consumer chain, which is what QuickSilver aims to become, I think there is the option that the fees could also be paid in QCK, right? Which is a native token of QuickSilver. We also don't know details yet, both of Lido, if they were to build on Neutron, as well as QuickSilver. We don't know to which degree they will give out their tokens. We already know QuickSilver is doing an airdrop. How much stake the Atom community would have on that chain in terms of governance. So that's also an interesting question that we still need to wait and see further announcements. But in general, it just differentiates. And yeah, as always, the market will decide which solution will win. And yeah, I'm talking with all teams. I'll keep you guys notified and in touch. Let me know what you think about liquid staking in general. And do you think it's going to change the game for Atom? Is going to change the game for Cosmos, drag in a lot of new users? Or do you think it's highly overrated? This could also be the case, right? Let me know what you think. I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you really enjoyed this. Keep an eye also on proposal 72 on the Cosmos Hub. There's still a couple of days left for voting. Always make sure that if you stake your coins, that you also participate in governance, not just for airdrops, but also to just make use of your rights, right? So I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe and be good.